Okay, next up in Teens Talk, you're going to meet Chris. I've been thinking about how to set up his story for you and my thoughts about it, but I'm really at a loss. It's so multi-layered. It's something else. So all I'll say is thank you, Chris, for sharing your story with us. It's pretty amazing what you've gone through and the way that it's all turned out. And I hope you watching this can appreciate his efforts to bring bullying to the forefront in a way that most people don't really get a chance to see. All right, here's Chris.
My name is Christopher Green. I am 16 years old and I'm in the 10th grade.
Okay. Chris, you're new to our group here in Gap. Can you tell us, do you mind telling us what brings you to the alternative school?
After a time of being bullied for a couple months and before a couple of years ago, I couldn't take the stress that was being applied to me.
Okay. Was it, and you don't have to answer any question that you don't want to, but was it the same people that was doing it over and over? Was it different people, or?
It was the same people constantly.
Okay. And what ways did you try to get help for it?
I tried to avoid these people. I talked to some people and it just didn't work.
Okay. You try to talk to adults or people at school about it?
I used to, but after a while they just said they'll watch and make sure that they won't see it happen.
Okay. So basically you feel like, do you feel like they let you down? Like they really weren't doing anything?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Do you see that with other people as well? Like other students? You see these problems?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You said you were going through this for a couple of years. If you don't mind, can you give us some examples of the type of stuff that these people would say or do?
They'd make fun of me because I was small. They'd make fun of the color of my skin. They made sure that anything that I did would be even harder to do.
Okay. And how come you think they were doing this stuff to you?
I guess just because I was different.
Just because you're different than them? Yeah. Why do you think someone would treat someone else that way, just because they don't look the same?
I guess because it made them feel better about who they were, and if they got somebody to look at somebody else's flaws, they want to see their own.
So you'll be back at regular school before the end of the school year. Do you have any concerns right now about going back to regular school?
Just keeping my grades up and trying to get back in the groove of going to all my classes.
Yeah. Do you think the problem with these other people, that it's going to come back up again, or?
No, the school has told me that they were going to take care of it, and I think they have.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Did you see the bullying and stuff? You said it went on for a couple of years. Do you think it affected your attitude or behavior, or?
Well, after being bullied, I used to play football and run track, but after a while, with them always being behind me and messing around with me while I was trying to do something, I just sort of thought that I wasn't going to be any good for it, so I quit.
Mm-hmm. So the bullying actually forced you out of something that you like to do?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have friends that you shared this with? I mean, were you able to talk with anyone about this?
Yes, I talked to my friend about it, and for the most part, we just tried to avoid them. And if something started where they started talking about me, my friends would just tell me, "Let's just keep moving," and we usually did.
Mm-hmm. Just trying to get out of the way of any kind of danger. Must have gotten into some sort of fight or something
after so long of being picked on that I didn't necessarily get into a fight, but I threatened them and scared a few people.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought that I needed to be seen to before anything got out of hand.
Can you talk a little bit just about that that frustration, that anger that, you know, you go to, I don't know, school officials or you go to whoever and they don't really seem to do anything to help out. They're not really a good resource for you. Can you talk a little bit about just that frustration and what that does to a person?
I wasn't just mad at the people who were messing with me. I was really mad at the people who wouldn't do anything about it. If you just go up to somebody like a teacher and say, they keep picking on me, the teacher's usually going to tell you, get over it, that's high school, or I'll watch out for them, and they never see anything, so it keeps going on. And after a while, you just get tired of it.
It's almost like they're not even taking you seriously. Yeah. It's like you don't even really have a voice at that point. They're just like, they minimize it. They say, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just normal high school, Chris. Just go on. It's like no one was taking you seriously. Isn't it kind of odd that you had to make a huge threat for them to actually take you seriously?
I would think so.
Yeah. What happened to the bullies? Do you know?
I think all the principal did was talk to them about what had happened. And even then, I mean, I'm not sure. They could have just gotten away with it, and who knows.
So here you are, a minority in this town, being bullied and tortured by people over the course of a couple of years. You finally have enough. You finally stand up to them in a way that was maybe aggressive, but you're the one that ends up being an alternative school and they are in regular school. Is that right? Yeah. This is just my opinion, but that sounds kind of messed up.
Yes, I've had a lot of people come up to me and ask me, what did I do? And I tell them, and they ask me why. I told them why, and they always thought that I wasn't, if that was just it, I shouldn't just be in here. I should have other people in here also for bullying and driving me to that point. But
do you feel that you did do something wrong by making those threats?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. You made a mistake and you think you're kind of learning from that, but we just don't know if the guys that were actually bullying you, if they're actually going to learn anything from this. It seems like they've missed the opportunity to learn something. You know, the teachers and the principals, it sounds like, kind of let you down a little bit. Are there, when you get back to regular school, are there other resources or people that you can go to? Have you found anyone that you can trust that might be able to help?
The biggest person I think I can go to now is my principal. He tried really hard to make sure that I wasn't going to be put in this place, but he couldn't do anything since this was the minimum I could do. But he's also grown up with bullying issues such as this, and he said he's going to make sure there's a safe environment for me whenever I get back.
That's excellent. What advice would you give to anyone who may be going through something similar to what you were going through?
If you have somebody close, talk to them before you voice what you're thinking. Take a while to calm down, think about it, and if it doesn't sound smart, you probably shouldn't say it.
Okay. Would you like to add anything else to this interview before I let you go?
Just make sure you think about what you say. Make sure you have somebody that you can talk to and they understand what you're going through. And no problem's too little to bring up.
Excellent. Thanks.
After the initial interview, Chris and I continued to talk for a few minutes with the camera off. after a little while, I realized what he's telling me was pretty important stuff. He got into a little more detail about his experience with the bullying issue as it relates to himself, his friends, and the perpetrators of the bullying. So I asked him if he would mind if I switched the camera back on and we continue the discussion, at which time we did. So what follows is the post-interview interview.
Because of the color of my skin, most people think that I like to listen to rap music. I have to have my pants below my waist. I'm always hanging out with the wrong kids. But me and my friends really just like to go eat at fast food restaurants and listen to rock music and just hang out whenever we have the chance to. And I think that's why most people mess around with me, because I'm just not one of them. And for the most part, it didn't matter to me until they started picking on me more and more about it. And I think maybe it was because I was different and they didn't understand it, or they wanted me to be a stereotype and I just didn't want to. Whenever I was at the police station, me and my dad thought we were going to go home after being there for a while. Then they said, if you leave, we have to take you to a detention center. So I said they sent me to Laurel Ridge, a place for people with stress and depression. And after being there for 4 days, I came home for a day. We went to talk to the police again, see if there's anything else we had to do. And then they told me that I would have to go to a detention center. And me and my dad looked at each other for a while and we were just quiet. And they said, for how long? And they said, until he can go to court again. So I go to the detention center for 4 more days. The first 2 days, they put me on the in the little box, so I couldn't talk to anybody. I don't know why, but they put me in there. Guess they heard about what happened. Whenever I got out, I coasted through it. Everything went well. I get back and I start talking to the school again. Tell me, well, we already counted your 3 suspension days. Once they counted those, they said they had to put me into an alternate placement center for at least 45 days. And whenever I heard that, I just kept thinking, whenever I get out of here, they're going to put me off in another place, so I'm going to have to get out of there and go through here. And now, after thinking about it, I'm not really worried about it because everything seems to be going good so far. I talk to my dad more, I talk to my mom more, I talk to my stepdad a lot more. I found a person to trust in the school, and now I have people that I can talk to about what happens.
That's good. But it is one of those things where you get pushed to the brink, you stand up for yourself, and then you get punished here, and then you get punished here for this, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And like you said, I was worried for a long time, like, it's almost like, am I ever going to get out of this mess? And it wasn't necessarily you who got you into this mess. Like, you would have never made a threat had you not been threatened yourself, you know? Something is definitely broken when it comes to bullying, you know? When it comes to people, like you said earlier, they wanted me to be something I wasn't. So they started making fun of me. They were trying to put me into this box. And it just seems so unfair that you had to go through that, you know? If there was something, if there was some law or some sort of change that you could make across the board, all the schools in the land, to put it into bullying or to take it more seriously, what do you have any idea what that would be?
If a kid came up to a teacher and told the teacher that he was going through a problem or a group of kids were picking on him, they should they shouldn't just blow it off right off the back and say, you have to get used to it. You can tell him he has to get used to it, but at least look more into it and see how far and how bad it's gotten and what he's going through and how he feels about it. Because what you think is little may be big to him.